click on the wrong thing there. I did.
So we've never done it properly, have we, ever?
No, we haven't. I was like, oh yeah, click on my layout, and then it's like, no wait, that's my stream layout. This isn't my podcasting layout.
This is the worst thing I've ever done. Like, why did I make such an obvious and simple blunder? But yeah, welcome to episode 70 of the
Yeah,
podcast.
episode 70. We didn't stutter.
Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? How we went from 68 to
It's
70
very
straight
strange.
away.
It's very strange.
Yeah, and like I can't, and yeah, I know it is episode 60 now. I'm refusing to acknowledge it. I can't think of anything on the internet that pisses me off more in regards to commentators
Yeah.
than the 69 nice thing than maybe the first.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
people
The
just saying
classic.
first, closely followed by people putting hello on second one that the video goes live to try and talk to people.
Oh god. Like the classic one of just like putting the hello there, and it's like, I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
Yeah. Oh,
God.
man. Do you remember that guy who did that in my chat once, who put hello there and then, because no one responded in 30 seconds, answered himself saying General Kenobi,
Yeah.
and then just didn't get. It was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
God. And we'll point out for like the people watching on stream, like, I've abandoned the rainbow room because I
Yeah,
noticed
I've
I was
noticed that.
like,
What's going on?
the lighting works for when I'm like a small little bit in the corner, but I was like, with my face being like fully blown up and the webcam obviously decent quality but not fantastic, like I just decided I'm gonna suck it up. The rainbow room exists for streaming. Like when we're gaming, the podcast is gonna be, we're gonna have the serious lighting with just like the white behind. And I was trying then to see if there was a color that would show up with the brighter light for my lighting, but it fades out completely.
It just puts a tint on it, yeah. And yeah, as usual, we are recording this live on Twitch. So if you're
Yeah.
one of the people who wants to see us record this live for some reason,
Me looking very tired, I
yeah,
suppose, you know.
Lucas, it's 2021. We're all tired.
Yeah, God.
We're all tired, but you can do that on twitch.tv Karls Wood for me, and then twitch.tv Legend of Kanto for yourself.
Yeah, indeed.
Because I'm getting better at this professional
I've
thing.
just realised as well that I swapped our cameras around, but on my overlay, I didn't swap the links below our names.
Oh
Oh,
no!
webcam, so it just says that I'm Karls Wood and you're LegendOfKanto, but we'll go with it for this episode.
Fuck it, who gives a shit? But yeah, people can do that. And for people in the chat watching live, we do Q&A at the end of the podcast, but we may refer to chat as and when we feel like it. But
Yeah.
before that, Lucas, how do you feel on this episode 70 of the podcast?
Again, like a little bit tired because, you know, 2020, isn't it?
2021. You're still tired from 2020?
Yeah, I'm tired from 2021. 2020 in 2021, sorry. But yeah, other than that, like, I'm good. I've got, you know, my coffee right here in my Minnie Mouse mug.
Yeah, I've got a coffee as well. It might not look like
ready.
it, but I make my coffee with milk instead of water now.
Oh,
you know
okay.
what? Fuck it. I'm living that life. So it's basically a latte.
So yeah, like, it's one of those things of just, I'm a bit tired, but I've had a rest today. My new video went out and that went quite well, and then I've got my coffee. I'm ready for the streams. We're ready.
Talk about your new video, because this is something I know you've been working on and off for over a year at this point. So tell people at home what it is.
Yeah, this is not the individual video that I've been working on for a year, but like the general idea I've had for quite a while. It's something I've wanted to pursue a bit more this year, and one of the main reasons I actually stopped doing so many Let's Play videos. So the video is just called "Why is Golbat? Why Golbat is actually terrifying."
Yeah.
And it's just a deep dive into looking at like the actual science behind a 5 foot something Golbat that is looking to drain blood from victims, including human beings.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's when you put Pokemon into the context of like real world and science and stuff, it's really fucking scary.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that I'm not overly a fan of sometimes when people do that sort of thing, like use real world logic to judge a fictional universe by. But I watched your video, and you do that, but in a way that makes sense. So you're not saying, oh, it doesn't make sense because a 5 foot tall bat couldn't scientifically exist. It's like humans exist in that world, evidently, and humans exist. There's no evidence to say that they're not the same kind of people as us.
Yeah, exactly.
Their bodies work on the same rules out. It's just like Pokemon exist in that universe as well.
Yeah, and it's one of those of not questioning whether Pokemon can exist, but how does the world work when you just fully accept, yeah, Pokemon are fucking real, and all of these things with batshit crazy powers are just roaming wild?
Yeah, and Mike's. I watched the video and just like the one that I didn't know was just like, oh yeah, it will eat Golbat, the bat Pokemon that's 5 foot tall, will drink blood until it can't fly.
Yeah. It's like it legitimately says in multiple Pokedex entries, like, yeah, it will continue to drink even if it can't fly anymore. It's like, oh my god, like that thirsty fucking Golbat.
And you know as well that we've all been there.
Oh yeah.
Like there are plenty of days like when I've drank so much I can't walk anymore. I just didn't know that it could happen if you drank blood. Then again, I guess if you drank a little bit of blood, that put me on my ass. 'Cause I don't think it tastes very nice.
No, like obviously most people have done the thing when you like get cut and lick your own blood, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, it's also all the texture because they never get it right in movies, do they?
Oh yeah, like movie
Like,
blood when it's normally just like red dye and like corn syrup water, isn't it?
yeah, like fake blood in movies always looks terrible, and it actually looks better in black and white movies. Do you know why?
Uh, I'm not sure why.
Okay, so fake blood in old black and white movies because it doesn't look right. Modern fake blood has been used for decades. It's like stage makeup. It was used originally, and obviously they
Yeah.
took stage from stage to film. But when they tried filming stuff in black and white, fake blood for the stage just looked wrong. It's too pale. It
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
look like blood, despite the fact that it is ostensibly a blood standing. It's bright red, but on a black and white camera, it doesn't look right.
Right.
So what they do is they use chocolate syrup, which has the same consistency as blood and looks more like blood than blood does in black and white. And isn't that super stupid to think about?
Yeah, that
That
really is.
chocolate syrup looks more like blood than blood does on black and white screens.
Yeah, because it's not that thing of like what we don't obviously see the world in black and white, so seeing blood in black and white, it might be blood, but it doesn't look like what we imagine blood to look like.
Yeah, and
And it's
I
that
love that.
weird
It's like,
thing. Yeah.
have you ever seen what they had to put makeup when they put makeup on actors back in the day?
Hmm.
In black and white times, they would wear like red and green makeup.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because obviously skin tone makeup looked wrong. It makes you look washed out. It makes
Yeah.
you like look really too pale. So you
Hmm.
can't actually see the contours and definition of a face. So they used to put people in green and red and pink makeup. It looked hilarious. And that's why if you watch shows like Star Trek, the original series, everyone's got super extra eyeshadow on.
Oh, right,
Like,
yeah.
everyone's got like full on eyeshadow on, and that's because that show aired at a time when some people still had black and white TVs. So many, in fact, that they actually had to do the makeup so it makes sense for color TV and black and white.
Oh, that's a challenge.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
why everyone had really extra. If you go look at like, Lieutenant Uhura, you'll
Hmm.
see she's just got the most just fucking extra bright purple eyeshadow, and even like spot more eyeshadow on that show. It's
Yeah,
great.
and I even remember just doing theatre back in the day of like having to do a lot of things like wearing eyeshadow and mascara and stuff just to make your eyes accentuate more because a lot of emotion comes from your eyes, and when you're 40, 50, 60 foot back in the audience, you will find it very hard to see somebody's eye on stage.
Yeah, you can even see it in like videos like this. If you watch our videos, I have had on multiple occasions people legit ask me if I've got jaundice.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like, Carl, are you ill? Because your skin looks yellow. And it's like, no, it's because I'm not wearing makeup, but I'm not wearing stage makeup, I've got stage lights, and I'm in front of a green screen.
Yeah.
So the green's bouncing off and it gives me a green tone. Like, even now you can see
Yeah.
like my skin tone and texture is very different to what it looked like in a video because the lighting's so different and the camera's so different.
Exactly, and like that's the thing. I can see myself on the webcam, and I look even more washed out than I do in real life. Like I'm a pale boy anyway. Like I'm a ginger
Yeah.
guy, but I can see on my webcam, like yeah, that big light that I've got right behind my desk, and just like the weird like going to quality of the camera and stuff. It just makes me look like just completely washed out.
And it's why I'm guessing this is true of a lot of people when they have the moment of looking in a bathroom mirror and they look so good. It's like, oh man, I look really good. And they go out and they go into any other light and they look terrible. It's because bathroom lights are directly overhead.
I feel
So it
it's
hides like,
almost as if like the equivalent of when you're playing a game, and bear with me here, I've like, you go to the character creation and they have the
Oh yeah.
super good lighting on the character that makes the face look incredible. And then you go confirm, and then the first cutscene, you're like, who the fuck is that person?
Don't worry, I'll play Mass Effect 2. I know what you're on about.
Oh god, yeah, the Mass Effect ones are bad.
Or like for some reason where it shows you the character's face and it's completely like just stoic and not moving. But the moment they attach your character's face to like the skull rigging they must have, and just like your lips start pursing through themselves, you're like, oh god, no.
Yeah, that one was Mass Effect Andromeda, that one, Carl.
Yeah. Like, Commander Shepard, are you okay? No. I've never been okay.
Oh,
But
god.
in that vein though, Lucas, like what do you think is the best you've ever looked then?
Ooh.
As a jump in, like when's that the time you've looked in the mirror and gone, fucking yes, that's him, that's me right there, that's the one.
I don't know. Probably like one of the weddings I went to a few years ago. Like I wouldn't specifically point out which one, but like
Weddings are a classic.
You know, when I was 20 years old and skinnier and in better shape, and not like nearly 30 and just going, oh god, I look terrible. But yeah, probably just like, you know, when I've made the full effort, I've got like fresh dyed hair, Minter suited up, and I'm just like, yeah, man, yeah.
There's just something about the feeling of being suited and booted as a man, isn't there?
There is, yeah.
It's how I imagine girls feel when they put on. Well, it probably is. It's the equivalent, isn't it, of when they get a really, really nice dress.
Yeah.
And they do all their makeup and stuff, and they feel like that. But when you just put that suit on and you just stand there and you go, and you find yourself just doing that so much, it's like, oh yeah, you stand just a little bit taller. You got a bit more of a spring in your step, and you get that click. There's nothing I like more than that clicker clack of wearing dress shoes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and just like walking down a quiet corridor when you've got dress shoes on. And it's like
that clickety clack.
Oh, yeah. You feel powerful. Like you feel like that shot of, you know, like anytime there's like a powerful woman walking down a corridor in a movie and they're wearing the high heels and you just see like the stomping down. It's like, yeah, mum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel that power now.
Then if Joss Whedon directs it, they zoom in right on the feet.
Oh god.
That's the one. But that thing is, that's like one of my favorite scenes in a cartoon, which is the Agretzko show, the first episode, where it's Goro, I think it is, and Washimi, when it's like, oh wow, look, that's the secretary to the head of the company and head of marketing, and they just do the power walk, the baddie, and they have their own theme song. It's like da da da. It's like they plays every time they walk into a scene, and they get to the end of a corridor and go, man, this baddest bitch in the room walk really hurts my back. It's like, don't show weakness. Don't show weakness in front of the underlings. It's like that. That is how I want to feel every single day. I want to do my baddest bitch in the room walk.
And the thing is, I've not seen that show, but the moment you explained it to me, I was like, I can visually see that in my head. Like,
oh yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like, just watch the first episode. It is absolutely incredible. Just that moment when those two characters appear on screen, they're the best two characters in the show. Of just when they're doing it, and they call it the baddest bitch in the room walk. It's like fucking two writers.
That is the proper name for it, yeah.
It is. It's the only way to refer to it, and it's just like there's just something about like being all dressed up and prim and proper. It's the best way to do it.
It is.
But,
and,
yeah, like, what have you been up to this week?
Well, I was about to ask you if you got any other type of moment where you're just like, yeah, I fucking feel good right now.
It was a random one. It was like, I still remember it because I have the photo locked away somewhere. And it was when I was at the peak of going to the gym, and I just got out of the shower once. And I just took and I went, look, I took a picture of myself. I went, I look pretty good. And I took it and I went, yeah, I look really good in this photo. And then I looked down, and because of the lighting, and I've got out of the shower and I'm wearing a towel, it's just like you can very clearly see a defined, just like contour of my penis. I can never share this photo because it's going to look like a fucking set. It's like, no, I just genuinely thought, I looked in the mirror and went, I look really good. I should take a photo of this just so I can, like, you know, remember looking this good tomorrow. And it's like, oh no, it looks like a dick pic. You can never share it anywhere. Fucking great. It was just a random day when I was like, you know, you just sometimes you get out of the shower and you go, yeah, after you've like had a proper scrub and a soak.
Fair enough, yeah. I appreciate those days.
It's one of those. It's the confidence, isn't it? Confidence is key.
Oh yeah, for sure. But
it's like
oh, go ahead.
I was going to say it's just like the number one thing you need. And I never have been able to like take any advice on dress and clothing and stuff like that
Mm.
because the most confident people, like if you're confident, you can wear whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, I that's the thing is when you're wearing something that like you've just been told to wear, whether you know that you look good or not, there's always that weird disconnect of like, okay, it's like this is cool and like I might look good right now, but it's not what I wanted to wear.
Yeah, and if you don't feel comfortable, and that's why you can always tell when someone's not confident in themselves.
Mm.
Because what's the, like the classic look that everyone says, like the bad look for a man, like cargo shorts, and then like
Oh
an
yeah,
anime t-shirt or like a fedora or something like that. It's like plenty of people can wear that and pull it off. I've seen many people pull it off. It's
yeah,
just they need the confidence to do it.
exactly. Yeah, 100%.
So, don't wear a graphic T-shirt that looks bad. It's like I call it the Tony Stark. Just wear it with a nice jacket and wear it with confidence. You can pull it off.
Yeah. But Carl, it's 2021. It's quite hard to feel confident at the moment
It is,
after
yeah.
like a
No,
year
no.
of fucking lockdown.
We might be coming to the end of that because I'm starting to be in that. It's that weird bubble where friends of mine, like, yeah, I'm getting the ejection soon because of where
Mm.
they work. I'm like, well, I'm self-employed, so I'm right at the bottom of the fucking pile.
Yeah.
I'm never getting that. I'm going to be like the very last one in England. I swear down.
Well, that's the thing is a lot of my family work in either NHS or NHS adjacent workplaces, and they're all like, "Yeah, got my first injection, like get my second vaccine like next month or whatever," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." Me in general, see you in like September or something because we're both working from home and have no reason to not be working from home. Like both of us can stably
Yeah.
do this, so yeah, like we are at the bottom of the barrel and that sucks for us, but we're both in that mindset of like it sucks for us, but it's way more important to get it out to those people, so we completely understand.
Yeah, like the people who actually, physically have to go out and work. But it's just one.
Yeah,
It's just kind of weird that I'm already on the cusp of starting to see people like, yeah, I can finally get back to normal. It's like, damn you,
yeah,
curses on the lot of you. But I'm so happy that you're able to do that. Good for you.
yeah. I'm gonna love like my family getting together in summer, and all of them can go to like one house, all vaccinated together, and I'm there like, I guess I'll like Zoom call in or something, just sit in
I'm
the
never,
corner.
I'm never fucking using Zoom ever. I
Oh
refuse to
God,
use it.
we
Just
used it
on
on
principle.
we used it over Christmas, and it was like 7 different households all Zoom calling each other. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible.
And like my heart goes out to people who like kind of have to do it.
Hmm.
And I've seen some of the ones that I reckon that it would be so awkward. And it is or like teachers and stuff and college student. Oh yeah, hang around after the lesson is done, and we'll do like a meet and greet, and it's just like 4 people turn up out of like a class of 60, and you're like, oh god, that'd be so fucking awkward.
Yeah, that really would
Like
be.
icebreakers are already awkward enough, and I imagine it online with like accidentally like, talking over people, and you're like the bad lighting, and everyone can see where your bedroom is.
I um I still remember like speaking of icebreakers of just turning up to uni and I got like because we went to the same university.
Yes.
Like I got the wrong building because like
Oh,
there's like 8 different buildings to go to spread across like the city campus, and I just ended up like 10 minutes late to the first session, and just like ran in and was like, "Oh, sorry, I'm late. Sorry, I'm late." Like dead flustered and just panicking. It's everyone was in the middle of icebreakers, and I was like, "Oh, this could have like." The one thing that made it worse than just normal icebreakers was being the late dickhead to the icebreakers.
because then everyone's going to ask you why you was late, and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
that guy who was late.
oh, it wasn't good.
I used to go to the wrong room so much back in university because I
Yeah.
could never for context, the university campus where I was like 10 floors,
Hmm.
and it's like, oh, you need to go to room like 1003. And I'm like, is that the first floor, room 03, or is that 10th floor, number 3? So many times I'll go into a room and go, is this like history of media? And they're like, no, that's on the 10th floor, mate. It's like, for fuck's sake. There's no worse than being late and knowing you've got to run up 10 flights of stairs.
Oh god, Carl just refusing to use the elevator.
It took longer.
Yeah, it did take forever because you would get in that elevator, and if you're in one of the top couple of floors, you're like, there's going to be people getting on and off every fucking
Every
floor.
Someone will get
It
off
did
it.
take forever because some people wanted to like get to the top, or some people wanted to get to every individual floor. Then some people were transferring lessons from like floor 2 to floor 5. So every single floor there were people getting on and off, and it just took
Like,
forever.
if you're on the 10th floor, it's actually easy to walk up the stairs. And I remember
Yeah.
that. But that's why it get me. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
And I distinctly recall there were many times where I just looked and went, I'm on the 10th floor and went, not today. Not today. I'll get it. I'll just
It's like,
email
oh,
someone in the
what's
class.
that? Like 8 a.m. seminar on the 10th floor. Like, I'll get the cliff notes. Cool.
I'll be honest. Every what it was now, I was in uni for 3 years.
Hmm.
For 3 years, I had a 9 a.m. 2 hour lecture on the same subject for those 3 years on Tuesday. And I went to Monday Corp every week.
Yeah.
And I never missed that lesson because I was like, I'm paying 9 fucking grand a year to study here. I'm getting my goddamn money's worth.
The one lecture that I did stop turning up to, like just full stop,
Mm.
was the lecturer that would like he built a slideshow for every single like 1 hour lecture, and he would stand there for the entire hour, and without asking any questions, any like input from us, he would stand there and word for word just read every line, and just stand there and just read it, and just no extra explanations, nothing. And then at the end, there was no like questions or anything. There was
No discussion.
no discussion. It was just an hour of him reading out the slideshow notes really slowly. I was just gonna download the slideshow that he puts up 10 minutes after the lecture. Then,
Yeah, I remember seeing that when I went into a class, and I was sat next to my mate, and a guy was talking, and my friend just opened up his laptop, clicked on the slides, and was like, just went with his finger like this, shut his laptop, and left the room when I'm going to the pub. So there's no point. You are
yeah,
not teaching me anything I can't teach myself. If you give me no extra input, what is the point?
yeah. And that's the thing is the seminars that guy did were quite insightful and useful for the subject, but it was just like, what is the point of me turning up to this if you're gonna really slowly read a slideshow back to me?
Joel, that's the equivalent of it. It's like when games and TV shows and movies put too much of the subtitle on screen at once.
Oh god.
Like, Joel, they put like an entire paragraph on screen so you know the conversation that's about to take place. And you're like, well, I
Yeah.
already know what's going to happen now.
Oh god, I absolutely hate
Like
that.
that.
Of just, oh well, I know what's gonna happen 30 seconds later in the cutscene because you've put it on one giant paragraph on the bottom of the screen. It's like,
Do you want to tell you what game I've played recently that's really bad for that? I think it's a sale, so I got Assassin's Creed Oasis. I think it is. The other one that's set in Egypt, is it?
oh, Origins.
Origins, sorry, yeah, the one that's set
Yeah.
in Egypt.
Yes.
And the subtitles on that are like, they take up the entire bottom of the screen. I've never
Yeah.
seen subtitles so fucking massive.
Assassin's Creed is just awful for subtitles, I've found.
They are fucking humongous, but they're on for like all the flavor text in the world. So when you're like riding around on your camel, which is admittedly awesome when you're riding around on a camel, just like hitting people with your camel and be like, yo, fuck you, I'm an assassin. Every time someone goes like, ow, it's just ginormous on screen. It's like watching 60s Batman.
Yeah.
Like, pow, chow, pow, everywhere. Constantly just on a screen. It's just, oh, hey, is that Bayek? It's like, well, yeah, it's Bayek. Also, I'm wearing a mask. How do you know it's me?
I really don't mind the idea of like the new Assassin's Creed games. They seem quite interesting, and I've played the first few halves of Odyssey and plan to go back to it at some point. But
I'll tell you one thing though that put me off immediately, and I turned it off straight away the moment it happened.
oh really?
I was playing Assassin's Creed Origins. I'm getting into it. I'm like, actually, you know what? I don't mind. This character's pretty cool. It's a pretty neat setting. I'm liking the idea of like exploring Egypt, going to like climbing the pyramids and shit. Because okay, tutorial area over. Leave the oasis and go track down your like targets. Just do. Woman steps out of an animus machine.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that was turn off straight away. Can I skip these scenes? You can skip these scenes. Okay, I'll get a cup of tea and go back.
Funnily enough, that's where I left Odyssey, is the cutscene where it came back to modern day, and I was like, and that's enough for today.
I genuinely cannot believe they're still trying to double down on that.
Yeah, I know, it's baffling.
It's the most divisive, not I want to say universally disliked, but I want to say like just maligned.
Yeah.
By fans.
Yeah,
like,
because we've both mentioned this before. I never find anyone that's interested in that future scene stuff.
But some people are because they liked the Assassin's Creed 2 storyline, which did link in with Desmond. But it's like the moment they stop mentioning Desmond, like, stop fucking putting this future stuff in. It's tone annihilating.
Mm-hmm.
Like it happens in Origins. Like the impetus for the story is like your character,
Mm-hmm.
who you spend like an hour and a half getting to know. You see, like, but without any context of why he's doing what he's doing. You get the cutscene that establishes it. It's like, oh, they killed his son.
Mm.
It's like, wow, man, I now want to go kick the shit out of whoever I'm going to kill. Boo doo doo doo. And my mission is, oh, you've been in the Animus too long. Get some water. It's like, fuck off.
Well, I was going to mention about Origins, and the thing that turned me off it was I was planning at some point to like pick it up on sale. Then I heard somewhere on a podcast like, oh, did you know that they were actually either meant to have Bayek's wife as the main character, or at some point Bayek's wife was meant to take over Bayek as the main character?
Not met his wife yet, but I've heard that she's awesome.
Yeah, and it was the idea of, oh, that sounds really cool, like being able to play as this female as well, and they told Ubisoft to like the developers to take it out of the game because female protagonists don't work.
Even though they did that in the previous one, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, where you can play as a brother and a sister. And I'll tell you what, I played every opportunity as the girl.
That's all I heard people say is Evie was the better twin.
Because you could swag around wearing your pimp hat and your cane and just slap people with your assassin cane. It's the best. It's so good.
Oh, God. But yeah, that really turned me off of like, no, fuck you, we don't want a woman in this game. I was like, well, I'm not buying it anymore then, if that was your stance. I'll go buy Odyssey where they've got fucking Cassandra in it instead. And
that's the character everyone plays. It's like you either play Cassandra or you're a coward. Do you want to play as like Leonidas's ass whooping daughter or generic Spartan man? No, thank you.
And I appreciate in the new one, Eivor is like, a female and a male at all times. Like you have the choice to just swap on the fly and you can be either of them.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't mind that because it's like, oh, there's all that we know is it's like this legendary Viking Eivor. Nobody mentioned whether it was a man or a woman.
Because they're a Viking, all that matters is they're a warrior.
Yeah, it's like, fuck, that's fair enough, cool.
It's a warrior society. They don't give a fuck what you got between your legs as long as you can kick some ass. It's like, and because you're playing obviously in the Animus, it's like, oh, you can choose what you want to do because you're basically living out there. That's a really neat way of like contextualizing that.
Yeah, I appreciated it.
And it's like there's that great line in Mulan that references it, where I don't know what's the villain of Mulan called again. Do you remember? But it's the Mongol leader.
It's Genghis Khan, isn't it?
It might have been. I just know that there's the Mongol leader, and when he encounters Mulan, he just says the warrior from the mountain. He never acknowledges that she's a woman because in Mongol culture, women could fight just as well as men.
Mm-hmm.
So he never once acknowledges the fact that he doesn't treat her any differently when he finds out she's a woman. It's just, oh, it's you, the warrior.
Yeah.
The person who bested me in battle. Like, I don't care that you're a woman. I just care that you're a warrior, and therefore like, you're going to challenge me to a fight.
At the end of the day, that's all that should fucking matter in a fight.
And then he's the villain. Yeah, but then he's the villain.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But he did also, slaughter millions of people. So that might be the part that makes him a villain.
Yeah, fair enough. But it's like
Shan Yu apparently is the villain.
Shan Yu, okay. But it's just that weird thing of villains having such a good fucking point, but then putting the point, like for example, like Cruella de Vil. Which we could talk about because this is great. Because I recently watched 101 Dalmatians, and there's that amazing line that she drops of, I think it's the person she's working for. It's like, oh, you've got so much talent. You got so much talent. It's been wasted. It's like, oh, I just really want to get a husband and settle down. And Cruella de Vil says more women have been lost to marriage than have been lost in war, famine, or anything like that.
Yeah,
and it's like, why is this the villain saying this? She's absolutely 100% right. And it's the breakdown I saw is because Disney wants to present it as an opinion only a woman who wants to wear a puppy coat could have, even though she's right.
Yeah, and it's like that old, like, I mean, I guess not even old school Disney, just that Disney view of like, yeah, must have like traditional female role.
That film as well is so hilarious because the woman, like I was watching it with the missus and we just looked up the actors. It's like, oh yeah, the guy that she falls for because he has a Dalmatian. That's literally the reason they fall in love.
Yeah.
Like he's 25 years older than she is.
Oh my god.
And it's like she's told you have all this talent and skill. And it's like, no, I'd rather care for 100 fucking dogs.
Oof. Christ. But yeah, like I actually watched the trailer for, was it just called Cruella?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, it's amazing because it's all I think when I watch it is this woman tries to skin puppies. Like specifically, Cruella de Vil singles out skinning puppies because puppies have softer fur than adults. So she specifically wants to murder puppies.
It's like, I don't care what fucking Joker-esque movie you want to make out of this, where I guess they're gonna try and make it have some sympathetic, crazy background story, but it's like, but she actively wants to skin puppies.
Yeah,
There's
like,
no coming back from that.
It's like she's not even a villain. She's a cartoon character.
Yeah, literally.
Like there's no redeeming qualities to her. It's ridiculous.
And
It's like
oh, it made a fun trailer, but god damn, that's gonna be a hard sell.
it's probably the hardest of sells because there's nothing people love more than adorable dogs.
Yeah.
And it's just all you got to think every time she's talking about people don't like me because I'm a woman. It's like, no, it's because you try to skin puppies. It's because your whole thing is wearing fur. You are obsessed with killing and skinning animals and then wearing their fur. That is your thing.
No, Carl, it's just because she's a woman.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
God.
not because she's trying to skin puppies, even though that's like all she tries to do.
That's like the impetus of her character in 101 Dalmatians.
I will say that Glenn Close was fucking nailing that.
I don't remember who Glenn Close is.
She's just a really good actress, and she's like absolutely 100% nailing it in every scene she's in because she just looks at the scenery and goes, "I could eat that."
Is that the woman playing Cruella?
It's the woman playing Cruella, yeah,
okay.
and she is fucking incredible. Like, every scene she's in is amazing, and I would watch a film of that. I would watch a film of her being the villain. Like, as long as she gets her comeuppance at the end, that's fine. But I would 100% watch a film just like crazy, like billionaire. I'm gonna try. Do you know like Mr. Burns?
Yeah.
Like, the song he sings about like "See My Vest." He's wearing like the fucking like the gorilla chest vest, and he's got like the albino hippo slippers.
Oh.
I want to see that made into like a 2-hour long film. Make it a musical.
Fair enough, yeah, because I do remember watching that 101 Dalmatians film, like the live action one a while ago, but she is mainly what I remember from that movie.
And she's the best part of it. The dogs, yeah, and you can tell as well the dogs are like really poorly trained.
Yeah.
Because fun fact about Dalmatians is they are horrible, horrible dogs. They are the worst. They are impossible to train.
Really?
Yeah, and one of the facts about 101 Dalmatians after that film came out, people started adopting Dalmatians en masse against the direct advice of the Dalmatian Association of America, who said these are very, very challenging dogs. They are working dogs because obviously they're associated with firehouses. It's because they were one of the few dogs that would follow the fire engine without getting scared because they're deaf.
Okay.
Because they suffer with chronic deafness.
Oh.
So they weren't scared of the blaring horns of the firehouse because they were deaf.
That does make sense.
But like, they're working dogs and they need to constantly be challenged. Otherwise, like, do you like huskies and other working dogs like that?
Yeah.
Like they're not a family pet. They need to be worked. Otherwise, they get full of energy and they tear the house apart. So all that happened was people adopted these Dalmatians en masse and then took them to shelters because they couldn't deal with them.
Yeah, and I know that like when I was younger, I think it was actually before this movie came out, our like family dog for maybe a year or two was like a Dalmatian crossed with like, I think it was like a Spring Spaniel or something. So two notoriously just really difficult like and active dogs. Yeah. And it just got to that point of like my parents just couldn't deal with that and 3 kids and had to give it away in the end. And it's just, yeah, that I can totally see that I know that dog tore our house to shreds.
Yeah, it does. And it's like same thing happened with Game of Thrones where they introduced the dire wolves.
Yeah.
People like those dogs. Like, wow, the dire wolves. These dire wolves are awesome. I want a dog that's like a dire wolf. What's the dog that's like a dire wolf? Oh, a husky. And they were adopting huskies en masse. Again, and dog experts like, don't adopt a husky unless you can look after it. A husky needs to be walked like 3 miles every day. A husky can run a marathon a day without getting tired. You need to be able to look after it.
Yeah, I worked with someone back in Nando's who like their family had a couple of huskies, and it was like, oh yeah, they probably need to be outside for like 4 to 6 hours every day, otherwise they'll just be running around the house completely like full of energy.
Yeah. A friend of mine, he adopted one. So he went to a parent and was like, oh, we've got a husky here. Like, no one wants it. No one can look after it. And he's like, well, yeah, my family own like 5 miles. Like, they own like land.
Oh,
so they're
right,
down in the fucking woods. And he's like, I'd take it for a 2.5 hour walk every day. And then I found out, like, that my parents were also taking it for a 2.5 hour walk every day as well. All around. It's like, it still was full of energy and never got tired.
Oh God, yeah. And that's the thing is, I would absolutely love, like, I love the idea of having a husky because huskies are absolutely beautiful animals. But
they are, yes.
Yeah, I'm fully aware that in my current situation, there's no way I could look after one.
That's the one that I like. So it was my friend who owned it called Sasha, and he would always steal stuff off his plate. And every now and again, he'd just post a picture of it, and it's there with like his toast or whatever. And it's like he just always caption it, "Sneaky Sasha," just a sneaky Sasha.
Oh God!
And it's like that's the dog you want. That's like the cool one.
And like obviously we've got Kate, Jenna, and I, and
the thing is, yeah, I don't think how many walks does he need?
Well, he goes on a walk daily.
His legs are like this big, but his legs are like this big, are they?
But like, obviously, he's a hunting dog, so like they do have a lot of energy. Admittedly, they can't like he can't run as fast as I could when I'm trying to chase after him if he runs away. But yeah, it's he's got quite a lot of energy considering how small he is. But I was gonna say like just when he's being sneaky, it's so hard because obviously he's just a tiny little miniature dachshund and he looks so cute. And every time we're like mad at him, we turn around like. Fucking annoyed at you, but why are you so goddamn cute? Like, it's so hard to stay mad at you. Oh,
that's one of the things about dogs as well that always like just amazes me. It's one of the things that it blows my mind when I try to think about it. Is that dogs, you can breed a temperament onto them.
Yeah,
like dogs are like on a genetic level are programmed to behave in a certain way. That's crazy to think about, isn't it? That they're so specialized. Like some breeds of dog are so specialized that it just. Traits are inherited from birth and they just know.
And that's the thing is like we were looking at he chews a lot of its toys like completely through and stuff, and like when we were looking into any ways to stop it and stuff, it's like no, like Datsies just have a bit of like that bred into them of they described online of like, oh yeah, they tend to like find a point to pick at on that toy and they won't stop until they've destroyed it, and that's just a trait that they all have, and we were just like, yeah, that's exactly what he does. And it's weird that something so specific is just inherent to an entire breed of dogs.
And it's crazy to think about it. It's like what's it now? There's a now defunct, I don't know if it's the right word, defunct, extinct maybe, breed of dog that no longer exists. It's called the turnspit dog. You ever heard of a turnspit dog?
No.
So this is a specific breed of dog that was bred specifically to Joe back in the days of like castles when they had big spits in the kitchens.
Yeah.
When they just turn it to roast meat. Like they're not from cartoons, they're real. They're a real thing.
Yeah,
so that was the only way to cook especially large pieces of meat evenly.
Yeah, because people use them for hog roast now still, don't they?
Yeah, but they were the only ways you could cook like a lot of meat evenly on thing. And as you can imagine, that's like a fucking job that no one wants. No one wants to stand next to a fucking roaring fire for like 8 hours a day, just turning a spit. So what they did is they invented a device like a big wheel, essentially a giant hamster wheel connected to the spit, and they bred a species of dog or a breed of dog that did nothing but walk around those things called turn spit dogs. That was their name. That was their purpose. And they would be used as foot warmers.
Oh, God.
That was their other job where people would take them to church and they'd lie on your feet.
Yeah, yeah.
And the story goes that if the priest would shut his book too much, like too hard, because it sounded like someone opening the door for work to start, all the dogs would run out of church. And it's like, what? That's like such a specific thing.
It really is, yeah. And obviously, you can even look at like a lot of dog breeds and how it's like, yeah, I say like we've got a dachshund, and it's like that is
Is that even
bred to go down like
Yeah,
rabbit
but
holes and badger holes and stuff.
yes, if anyone's ever wondered, is it Dachshund or Dachshund?
I've been told that a lot of British people pronounce it like Dachshund, but I've been told like it is Dachshund, and we just all say it wrong. But yeah, I
Oh,
try to
okay.
say the right way, but I often forget because that's just how I've been brought up to say it. But yeah, they are. That's the reason they're like so long because they just
Fit down rabbit
go
holes,
down rabbit holes, and that's what
and
they're
then you can
bred
still
for.
then you can grab the back legs and pull them out if they get stuck.
And it's
It's
like,
like
oh god,
because you look at a Dachshund and go, why is it shaped like a fucky sausage? It's like, oh, so it can fit down rabbit holes. Now it makes sense.
yeah, and just you look at sheepdogs as well and things like that. I don't know, and what bloodhounds and the like. I don't know how we've managed to do it. Obviously, it's like just selective breeding over a
Oh, yeah,
long period of time, but
to get desirable traits that
yeah,
become exaggerated to the point of ridiculousness. The one I look, Joe, like bloodhounds, they've got really big ears.
yeah.
Like you might think, what are those ears for? Can bloodhounds actually hear very well? So I did an article on this. It's like dogs with floppy ears can generally hear as well as other dogs,
Mm.
but they tend to go deaf more because their ears are as in their sense of hearing is as important as their sense of smell. And the long ears of a bloodhound and similar hound breeds are to stir up smells as it runs its head through the grass.
Oh,
So, you
okay.
know, when it's like sniffing along the floor, its ears will
Mm.
drag along behind it and like stir up scents.
Yeah,
That's why they have long ears. It's like you look at why has it got such long ears to do that?
yeah, and that's like a common trait within like hounds of different breeds and stuff, and that makes perfect sense now that you've said it.
But it's so stupid, isn't it? That
Yeah,
they've got ears, so why do these dogs have long ears to help them smell better? Because you say it, it sounds so stupid, doesn't it?
it
It's
does.
like, why do bloodhounds have big ears to help them smell better? That makes no sense. It does if you think about it, but
Yeah.
it's too difficult to explain right now.
Oh god.
Is that the one I like? Do you know
Absolutely
why
love that.
dogs walk in a circle before they sit down?
No?
It's because it's trained in them from being wolves to stir up snakes.
Oh, okay.
It's like just in again on a genetic level, they're scared of snakes,
Hmm.
so they will always like walk in a circle before they sit down to patrol the area. They don't know why they do it, but they still do. And that's like what's the famous one with humans? It's like when you sometimes wake up and just in the middle of the night and just go, huh.
Oh, yeah, you're like, will leap forward a little bit as if you're falling off a tree and have to grab a branch.
And that's supposed. I don't know how true it is, but like it's supposedly that is ingrained in all humans on a genetic level from when we were apes
Yeah.
and would fall out of trees. That's so dumb. I love it.
God.
It's great.
One little thing that Cade does that you've reminded me about, though, is he's
Okay.
really funny because when we're on the sofa, like, he has a little couple of steps to get him up and down the sofa
I
because
love that he has that.
jumping, like, down, like, you know, relatively tall things and, like, that can eventually be really bad for their backs because they're so long they have bad back support. But it's really funny because if he needs to like rearrange himself when he's on the sofa, what he has to do because he's so long is go down the steps off the sofa and like reset his position and like reverse come back up the steps. It's like he's so long he can't rearrange himself on the sofa. He has
Are
to
you
like reset.
are you telling me that when your dog wants to sleep, he has to reverse into bed like an articulated lorry? Is that what you're telling? Are you telling me that Dachshunds are like articulated lorries? Just
Oh
do
god.
you need to get him some like lights for his rear end when he does that.
But it's just so funny. It's like, what are you getting off the sofa for? Oh, you just need to move yourself on the sofa. So he'll like run all the way down the stairs, like give himself a shake, run back up, and he's immediately back. It's like, okay, mate, okay.
I, I I can't imagine how much of a ball ache that would be. I think the closest I get is when I have to get out of bed to get back into bed because I've got like two quilts. I've got a blanket for when it gets cold,
Mm.
and there's nothing more annoying when the blanket doesn't quite reach your toes underneath, and you can feel like one part of your leg is not as warm as the rest. It's like it's easy to get out of bed and just start again.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not dealing with this. I'm not dealing with this again.
God, I absolutely
I'm
hate
not
that.
putting
I
off.
I toss and turn a lot in my sleep, and then sometimes it's just like, why is this like this duvet makes absolutely zero sense anymore, and it's just like curled up into a mess, and I'm just like, I can't shake this off anymore. I can't do it. It's like you can't just reset by shaking.
The worst one for me is like when the fitted sheet comes off, and there's no way you get like, and you always try and make the mistake of putting it back on while you're still in bed. So
You've
you're
always
never going
got
to
to
do
try.
it. You are never got to try, but you are never ever going to get a fitted sheet back on while you're still lying on the bed.
And you'll always do it, and you just try and like pull it over the corner while you're still lying down. Like, oh, come on!
And then you'll do it enough, and then the one near your feet will pop off. You're like, oh, come on! What was this? But Lucas, I believe that you had oh my god, that is a massive fucking bottle of water. Whatever the hell that is.
Hell yeah, it's
that...
like Vinto cordial.
I was about to say, is that coffee?
That would be a coffee and a half, like 2.2 liters of coffee. I'm fucking ready.
Hey, you need to stay so alert. Like you want to get a seat into the future by
drinking. Lucas, are you joining us for Borderlands? Like, Lucas has had a heart attack. Sorry.
Yeah, his heart just exploded and fell out of his body. But Lucas, yes, I believe there's something you wanted to talk about on today's podcast. It's the anniversary of something.
Yeah, just a little something called like the Nintendo Switch, and also by that like way of saying Breath of the Wild.
Okay, so how old is the Nintendo Switch now then?
So it's 4 years old today, and for the audio listeners, it is like 4 years and 1 day old because we recorded this the night before.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, goddamn, like the Nintendo Switch and Breath of the Wild, I still just can't wrap my head around them being real sometimes. Like that is an experience and a half.
Yeah, and I've played Breath of the Wild on your channel. We will finish it eventually when the dark times end. But yeah, what I love about the Nintendo Switch so much is that it just quietly exists in the background. Nintendo doesn't even need to engage in the console wars.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even they're so far beyond the wars. It's like they are. I know that old meme of like, oh yeah, they're out there living in like 2030. It's like Nintendo is. So while you've got like Xbox and PlayStation struggling and not struggling, but try snatch scraps off each other's plate, Nintendo's like, fuck it, here's another Pokemon game that's going to sell like 20 million copies. Done.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what did Nintendo do last year? Well, they farted out a Mario port of 3 games that sold like 15 million. They also released Animal Crossing, which was like the best-selling game of the year. Did they do anything else? They didn't need to. They sold like 20 million Switches doing that. It's like,
they released an old port of a game that's like 20 years old, and it sold more copies than Final Fantasy VII Remake. It probably cost them like £8 to make. It barely cost them anything to make. Looking at it's like, yeah.
It's like, we didn't even make it widescreen, you fucking idiots.
They are just so far beyond in terms of just like success that it's not even a competition. And if it was, it wouldn't be fair because they'd win every time.
Yeah, and they've managed to always kind of have a hold over that handheld market. And now that they've gone, well, why do we need a handheld and a console? We're just competing with ourselves at that point.
Just bring it in.
Just smash it together.
And they did. And it's just incredible to me, like, for all the mistakes that Nintendo makes, just nothing can slow them down.
Yeah, that's always the thing, isn't it? Of like, well, for every... I love the GameCube, but it didn't sell well. It wasn't commercially that successful compared to, like, a PS2. But it's like, for every GameCube, then they come out with a Wii. For every Wii U, they come out with a Nintendo Switch. It's like, you can never count Nintendo out of the race because every time it's like, well, the Wii U was a failure. Should Nintendo even make consoles anymore? And they go,
I remember those, yeah.
Fuck you, Nintendo Switch. It's like, yeah.
The one thing I always appreciate about Nintendo is that they have such a mystique built around their brand.
Yeah.
And like and you can tell, or you can assume that one of the reasons they're so protective of that brand is because nobody else has a brand as powerful as Nintendo's in the gaming market.
Yeah, they really don't.
Yeah. Next, the thing I've mentioned to you before, but I can mention for the stream and for the people listening on the podcast, is Nintendo likes to use the phrase Nintendo Magic.
Yeah.
When the Amiibos were first made, like when they announced Amiibos, it's like, oh, you might have seen there that something weird happened when, was it Iwata who demonstrated it in the initial reveal trailer? So he played with Reggie Fils-Aimé.
I presume it must have been.
But he pulls out and goes, "Oh, you see there, Mr. Iwata?" Because I was just going to assume it was him. Won there, and he couldn't have done that without a little bit of Nintendo magic. And you see that, and he goes, "That's perfectly in line with the brand." But can you imagine, like, who's a person from PlayStation or Xbox?
I mean,
Any of the high
PlayStation.
ups?
You could say like Jim Ryan
Okay, so like
on
Jim Ryan,
PlayStation.
imagine he goes on stage and talks about the DualSense 5. He
Hmm.
goes, you might wonder how the DualSense has, like, is it the haptic triggers?
Yeah, like the haptic
Yeah.
feedback and stuff.
Like,
Yeah.
you might wonder how these triggers work. Well, that's some PlayStation magic. You'd tell him to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You would tell him, like, he would be in, like, that would trend worldwide in,
Mm.
like, the gaming section of Twitter's, like, fucking moron goes on stage and makes a complete ass of self.
Well, did you actually see like a while ago when though I think it was Jason Schreier working at Kotaku at the time that was talking about like here's what went wrong with Anthem, and apparently in BioWare like the upper management always go yeah but it'll be fine because of BioWare magic, and it's like no fuck off like magic
They
doesn't make games.
they believe the hype of their own product. Like, they're smelling their own farts and getting high off their own supply
Yeah.
in that regard. And it's like no one else can get away with it but Nintendo. And I think if anyone else tried, it would come across as sad, desperate, or just like patronizing to their audience.
Well, last thing like yeah you read that and go BioWare said BioWare magic like fuck off you idiots, and then Nintendo do it and you're like yeah
Yeah, that
yeah
makes sense. So
oh.
if like in regards to, like, Smash Bros, it's
Mhm.
like, oh, how did you get so many characters? I think even Sakurai said something along the lines of, oh, it'd be difficult for anyone but Nintendo to get this many characters working on one game or something like that.
Yeah.
It's truly like a triumph for us or something like that. It's like, yeah, only Nintendo could do that. Nobody else has the like marketing clout that they do.
Yeah, and nobody else has the relationships that Nintendo does because like I can't imagine even if it was like a third party, say like, you know, Activision, I can't imagine Activision or even like a PlayStation going to every other gaming company and being like, we want to put one of your biggest characters in our video game.
Well,
Yeah,
we
no.
know that. Yeah, we know that's not the case because PlayStation tried to do it and they couldn't even get fucking their own mascots in the game.
Yeah, like they couldn't even get the likes of Lara Croft or Crash or Spyro.
Yeah. So
And
that was what
yeah,
PlayStation All Stars, where they tried to make a Smash clone,
yeah.
and they couldn't even get their own mascots for their own console onto that.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, we've got like Kratos. It's like, yeah, but what about like the people that made PlayStation 1? It's like we've got Parappa the Rapper in the back. I guess
Yeah.
we can pull him out, I
Don't
suppose.
just don't look at the voice actor's tweet history. It's not great.
Oh god,
Oh,
no.
yeah, he's one of them.
Yeah.
He's one of those where he's like, oh no, not Parappa the Rapper.
He's
Oh,
just a
bad.
little rapping dog. God damn it.
It's like the voice of Tidus. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake, the voice
Oh,
of
another one.
Tidus and who's it now? Not Ratchet. I think it's the guy from Ratchet and Clank, maybe. I think the guy who does the voice of Tidus in Final Fantasy X also does Ratchet.
Right, okay.
And it's like, oh, he's a piece of shit as well. I was like, oh, god damn it.
Mm.
So, oh no, well, they couldn't even get like Lara Croft who said like Spyro the Dragon,
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot, their own mascots and things. And Nintendo's getting fucking anyone they want.
Well, Nintendo got Cloud and Sephiroth in Smash Bros. When they couldn't get it for PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale.
And I would love to see another company try to compete with them in that regard of trying to build up a mystique around their brand. It's like
Yeah.
Nintendo's like basically the gaming equivalent of Disney.
Yeah,
Well,
we
like,
often say that to each other, don't we? Yeah. It's
because
very easy
Disney,
to.
like Disney as well, built up a mystique around their brand,
Mhm.
and they use like the term like Disney magic and things like that. And can you imagine like Netflix trying to pull that shit off? As big as they are and as popular as they are, and as much marketing clout and influence they have, they could never get away with saying something like that.
Yeah, totally. And it's something that it takes a long time to build up. And I guess it's as well because so many people will have grown up on Disney, Nintendo, both of them. Like, they do have that family friendly appeal so that you can be like I did. I think I first saw Mario when I was like 2 years old,
Probably, yeah.
maybe a year old or something. And it's like Super Mario World was there just on the screen. It's like I can see that as a kid and immediately go, oh look, like you know, it's bright, colourful, appeals to me immediately. And then it's like, well, that's not going to happen necessarily when you turn on like a PlayStation or an Xbox game.
Unless they're playing Wipeout. Bring back Wipeout. Bring it back.
Last thing is weird, isn't it? Because both PlayStation and Nintendo have like, well, there's Wipeout on this F-Zero, and everyone's just like, give us some floaty sci-fi racing game, please.
Oh man, I miss Wipeout so much because there is an incredible like little bit of lore in there about 'cause all the cars in White. I don't even know if they're called cars. They probably have like an in-universe name, but the cars in that they're all made by different manufacturers, like similar to Formula One.
Yeah.
And one of the manufacturers is we're really shit. It's
Really?
like we don't know. They just said I think their in-game description, because I remember it, 'cause it still sticks with me to this day, is yeah, we don't know how to make cars, but we do have more money than any other company in this competition. And I think the line is we will throw money at our products so they float on the pure stink of money. We want until just the sheer amount of money we throw at them, they'll float on that. That's
Oh
how we'll
god.
do it. Like we don't have the know-how or the knowledge
Yeah.
or the pedigree, but we have got a shit ton of money, and that's Nintendo. We will throw money at this thing until it works.
Oh god. I absolutely love that. And I always love in games when they do that thing of having like brands that have like certain associations of like, yeah, Wipeout you have, oh, here's the different teams of cars, and like manufacturers, like we're playing Borderlands, different guns have different
Different manufacturers.
manufacturers that then mean that you know what kind of trait a weapon has depending on the brand.
Yeah.
And like Destiny does a similar thing of like they recently was like, oh, you're gonna get a new Tex Mechanica exotic gun, and it's like because it's Tex Mechanica, it's gonna be kind of like themed around like a Western type gun, and it was like a lever action rifle. And it's like I love that kind of thing of like the brands within the universe.
To make it feel like more complete and just more live.
Mm.
And it's a difficult thing to do,
It
and it's
is.
an even more difficult thing to do properly. And you can look at there's a lot of universes where they just don't do that well at all. Like Star Wars is a great example,
Yeah.
where that universe does not feel lived in at all. Nothing about the universe feels lived in. There's no cohesion between the worlds. There's
Each
no
one just looks like it was designed just for like the cinematic appeal of it.
Yeah, it's like one of my biggest frustrations about sci-fi in general is just planets having a single biome.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars has that in spades. It's like, oh yeah, Hoth, the ice planet,
Tatooine, the sand planet.
and planet. And it's like, wait, so there's nothing? No, it's just sand. Okay, Jakku, the second sand planet. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Kashyyyk, it's just trees.
Yeah.
And no, just trees everywhere. We only have trees. There are only trees on this planet. But that's not how plant trees. Awesome. It's almost like you didn't think about this universe at all.
It's like it's hard to even name a single country in on Earth that exists
It has a
and
single
that
biome.
just has like one single thing.
Antarctica, and that's about it. And that's what the
Yeah.
literal polar extreme of the planet. But it's the standard in the Star Wars universe. I can't think of any planet in that universe that actually has more than a single biome, or more than like a single gimmick to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, each one is an insular idea. It's not a melting pot.
No, it has like one theme, and then everything on the planet is that one thing. Like they even have like a casino fucking planet in that
Yeah.
series. Oh, this is a planet where it's just a big casino. An entire fucking planet is a casino.
And I think it's, as you say, a weakness of sci-fi in general, because even when I'm thinking, oh, like, what's a better built world in sci-fi that appeals to me, and I think Mass Effect, and then even when you think about Mass Effect, it's like, yeah, each one's kind of like, here's the lava planet, here's the icy planet, here's the jungle planet.
Here's the planet with one base on it where you go do a mission. Is there anything else? No, everything else is gone. There's nothing else on the planet. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Have a more interesting idea than one thing. Just
And
one.
yeah. And that's the thing is like Mass Effect, it's got really well built universe, but even then that follows the same trope.
Yeah, and it's one of my most hated tropes of sci-fi in general. Just like, yeah, every planet has one thing to do with it. So you got any tropes from media that you're just not a fan of? Or like you see them in your eyes just roll into the back of your head?
I probably do, but like you throw me off there on a tangent I wasn't prepared for. Oh, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of tropes that I dislike, and immediately, just ones that come to mind are like, oh, the classics of like damsels in distress and things like that. But I'm
Yeah.
sure I could give a much more nuanced take, but
Yeah,
I did not have time to prepare.
oh, okay. Well, some points out Mars has only one biome. It has mountains and valleys.
Mm.
Like, but whereas in Star Wars, that'd be the mountain planet, and it'd be nothing but mountains.
And bear in mind as well that like these are made out to be habitable planets in Star
Yeah,
Wars.
with civilizations on them.
So like, yeah, Mars might be a big old rock, but we're looking at Mars as like, yeah, there's no life on Mars. Like nothing can exist there as far as we're aware. Um, so there's a big difference between looking at an inhospitable planet and going, yeah, it's a big rock. But then, as you said, like there's civilizations built on these other planets in Star Wars and other places.
And the civilization has like one religion. They
Yeah.
have like one as well. It's like you can expand that to like alien races. Like Star Trek suffers from that a lot, where it's like the humans in Star Trek are all like nuanced and they have like different opinions and lives, and there's like it's a melting pot of culture. And it's like what are the Ferengi? They're all obsessed with trade. Every Ferengi fucking loves trade. What about the Klingons? Honor. All
Yeah.
they ever talk about is fucking honor.
Yeah,
Is there any other kind? No, all honor.
is there any nuance in that species at all? Nope.
No.
Nope.
Do they have any culture beyond? No. It's like, oh, come on. And I get it. It's difficult to write that, but it would be interesting. I'd love to see it explored more.
Yeah, it would be really interesting, and it's one of those things of just it's very, very hard to not only craft interesting characters, but then craft a world of like detail and a universe of detail in terms of sci-fi. Like, imagine how many people for how many years have to sit down and would like have to build entire cultures that are made up for background scenery within a movie or game.
Yeah, and it's only like your absolute, just most, just perfectionist, crazy ass level directors and writers and stuff who do that. Like your George R.R. Martins, your Tolkien's, your Akira Kurosawa's in regards to film. Have you ever heard any like the crazy bullshit he used to do?
Not specifically, no.
So Akira Kurosawa was a Japanese film director, like one of the best.
Hmm.
Like I think he did like Seven Samurai, all those ones. And what he would do is he would write entire diaries full of backstory for every character and give them to the actors and say, "This is your character. You need to become this character."
Yeah.
Once you have read the diary and become the character, add to it yourself in the character's own opinions and like thoughts, and keep this diary as your character. And then there's like scenes in a hospital where it's like, okay, we set the hospital scene up, and he'd go up to the drawers and he'd open them up and go, well, there's nothing in the drawers. Well, these drawers don't need to be open, but it's a hospital scene. Put some instruments. This is a thing he'd actually do.
Yeah.
Put some instruments in the drawers. They put instruments in. What my film is set in the 1940s. These instruments are not from the 1940s. Put in period accurate instruments. Like that. That's the kind of level of like crazy bullshit you need to have.
Yeah.
If you want to like, create a good universe.
That's the weird thing, isn't it? I mean, it's one thing in a movie where you can go, well, we know that drawer is not going to be opened. But like
yeah.
when you're playing a video game, for example, and this is an entirely interactable world, and you go into a house, it's like, well, they've got one tin of beans. It's like, really? That's it?
Like, the Fallout problem.
Yeah.
Like every house is just bombed out, and there's like, oh, this is supposed to, like when you go like I remember playing Fallout 3, and they talk it's like 100 years in the future, everything has been picked clean. And you go into a supermarket and you find food on the shelves. It's like fuck, you would find food on the shelves.
Like, and it's not just food, it's like tinned food and dried food. They're first fucking things you go for in an apocalypse.
And there are bandits living here. If they wanted to make it realistic, there'd be nothing on the shelves. It would all be hidden away in like a lockbox controlled by the strongest bandit there.
Well, did you see pictures of what was like the shops in America were like during the storms and things a couple of weeks ago?
Nothing left.
And there was just images of entire supermarkets, every single item picked clean off the shelf, and you're telling me that in Fallout there's still food items there
that you can find anywhere.
They'd be gone in a day.
Less than that.
Yeah.
You won't even have time.
No.
I did like though those pictures you saw of America. The only thing that was left over was like Dasani. It's like fuck Nestle. It's the only thing people don't want.
Oh god, you know it's bad when there's nothing left in the shop and you're stood left standing.
It's like right at the start of lockdown over here when I went to the shop and they were trying to limit the sales of things. It's like tinned food, like you can only get, say, for example, like 10 tins of soup.
Yeah.
Because no one really needs 50 fucking tins of soup. But
Mm.
one of the things that I never saw them ever rationing was those really, really shitty, like what were they, pot noodles that aren't proper pot noodles.
Oh, the fake pot noodles, yeah.
They never ever ration them because no one's that desperate.
Oh god,
No one was desperate enough to stock up on them.
still remember just struggling for about 2 months to find some rice. And I was like, people just went mental on like pasta and rice. It's like impossible to get any.
And no one was making enough stuff with it. Because that's the thing as well. I knew all the people buying it weren't making anything good with that rice. Like there was enough. There was enough for everyone. I was lucky because I'm in a city. Because I was asked this by like my dad, and was like, "Oh, so you never had any problems with that?" 'Cause we did. Well, the problem is for you, Dad. You live in a town. When you go to the shop, you go in your car. And when people are going in their car, you are getting people going in their Land Rovers, filling up 3 trolleys worth of stuff they don't need.
Yeah.
And taking it out. I'm in a city. Realistically, you people can only buy what they can carry. Maybe a little bit more if they like, bring like one of those little trolleys with them. But for the most part, people can only buy what they can carry, so they buy what they need. So shelves around where I live were never empty. We never ran out of anything except for hand sanitizer.
Yeah,
because some shops didn't put limits on it, and you had those dickheads going in and buying like entire cases. But for the most part, we never run out.
That was the case for the start of lockdown for us. Of like, generally speaking, we could go into a shop and get some things because I should say people weren't in Karls, but then it kind of reversed on us like a month later when we still couldn't get items to like bake bread or get pasta or anything. And my sisters and my dad and stuff turned around of like, that's still a problem for you? And it's like, well, yeah, because we just kind of live on like a weekly food shop, but a lot of people outside of the city generally, a bit more affluent and have already got like pantries with food filled and stuff. So they're not living week to week on a food shop. They already have pasta in the back just waiting to be used and things like that.
Yeah, I physically don't have the space in my house because when I did my first initial shop, because I did my 2 weeks staying in, just couldn't find enough space for it. I was like hiding it under my fucking bed and shit. Well, I just thought it was always really funny though when I saw people going in and buying like 30 tins of one soup. It's like you're gonna get bored of that soup after the first week, mate.
Yeah.
Like, just get a mix.
God.
Get a mix.
Be nice. I mean, it depends because like I know Jenna goes into shops. It's like, oh well, there's 12 tins of food, 12 tins of soup. How many of them are vegetarian? Oh, 2. Okay, great. I guess I'll live off 2 different types of soup forever.
Oh, that's got to be gutting for her, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Being a veggie.
So I respect the choice, but I just look at that and I'm like, oh no. Oh no.
I can't eat 2 tins of soup for the rest of my life. Then again, I eat the same thing every day anyway, so.
You'd get bored of eating the same thing every day, but that's what I do.
Yeah, that's the thing of like what I'm having every morning now is I'm making smoothies. But I know that the trap that a lot of people fall into with smoothies, they put too much fruit in. It's fruits. Oh yeah, fruit's good for you. Not when you like blend it and drink it. You're basically just drinking your sugar.
Yeah.
So my smoothies every morning, I'm having a squeeze of lemon juice, a little like half orange, like a little bit of orange juice with some water, and then it's kale, spinach, cucumber, and chia seeds.
Yeah,
and it's not bad. It's not bad, but I'm having that like every morning with supplements and water, and I just go you have to drink it very quickly because if you don't, it separates.
Oh.
And then when you look at the bottom, it's like, oh no, because then you've got to do that last little dregs of all the kale at the bottom. It's like, I don't want to have the kale.
Yeah,
no one wants to drink blended kale.
Oh god, they don't. But Jenna was making smoothies last summer, and like, yeah, it was mostly just like milk and spinach with bits of fruit put in there, like a couple of handfuls of fruit, rather than like, I'm gonna fill up a giant like liter-sized cup of just sugar water, like.
Yeah, that's the problem. A lot of people, not the problem. It's like the mistake a lot of people make when it comes to smoothies. I remember I told you about my friend who was a personal trainer for a bit,
Yeah.
and a guy would come in and say, I don't know, I'm not losing weight. Well, what are you having a day? Well, I have I have 2 smoothies a day, meal replacement. Then I have like just a lean lunch.
Yeah.
A definite size card, piece of like lean protein, like chicken, with rice and spinach. And he goes, that doesn't sound too bad. So what do you put in these smoothies? And he goes, okay, so I put in 6 bananas. You do what, sir? 6 bananas. Is that split? No, 6 bananas in the smoothie with a liter of milk, and then like 3 scoops of protein powder. And he went, so you're having 12 bananas a day? Yeah, you're having like the equivalent of 40 spoonfuls of sugar a day with all that.
Christ.
Yeah, when he was having like 12 bananas a day, it's like, how much do you shit? Like your ass must be like a fucking McFlurry machine
Oh god.
when it's coming out the other end. You ain't got a choice. Like, what? 12 bananas a day?
I respect it.
I don't. But he was genuinely confused in his head. Banana equals, yeah, 1 banana a day is fine. 12, that's a bit of an issue. It's like, a chicken breast is fine. If you eat fucking 12 of them,
Yeah.
things are going to start to get a bit.
Everything in moderation, isn't it?
That's the
Yeah.
the key, the cardinal rule of anything to do with dieting. But I just found that so funny. Because when he was telling me, he's like, he couldn't stop laughing. In the back office, he's like, 12 bananas a day.
That's a lot of bananas.
There's a lot. It's so many. Like, what does it look like when he goes shopping?
Yeah.
Like, it will look like Donkey Kong. It's the banana horde. So you see, he just got the giant big things of the bananas and takes that with him.
I still get fascinated. I still want to know what the guy was doing when I saw him in Tesco, and his entire trolley was just like 3 big crates of yogurt and like natural yogurt, and then a bottle of vodka, and I was just like,
That guy's having a good day.
like, has he gone shopping for a restaurant that's run out of yogurt and then just go, I'm putting fucking my vodka on this?
Probably, yeah.
Like, yeah.
I've had to do that before, like when I worked in the restaurants. Oh, we need to go for a milk run. So I don't want to go for a milk run because you have to buy like 20 liters of milk, and it's such a ball ache carrying like 3 carrier bags full of fucking milk.
Well, like when I was at Nando's, we didn't get avocados on our delivery once, and we went into Tesco and we were just like, right, we need to buy as many avocados as possible. But they saw us in our uniform and they went, there's a limit on items now. We were like, what? It's like, you can only get 3 of each item. And this was pre-COVID, by the way. This nothing to do with COVID. And we were just like, oh, okay. And then someone else came in like before their shift. It was like, right, don't put your uniform on, go into Tesco and buy a shit ton of avocado. They came back with like 20. It's like, just because they saw us in the uniform, they were like, no, you can't come in and buy all our avocados from us.
The one that I used to like doing is when you get sent on an ice run. Because that was like, I hated it at first until I realised I get half an hour off work.
Yeah.
So when I worked in a nightclub and it's like 2 or 3 in the morning, it's like, okay, we're out of ice, go on an ice run. So you take a bin liner and just go to another bar and be like, look, we run out of ice from this bar down the road. Can we go ask your manager if we can have some ice? So what I'd do is I'd be like, yeah, I'll do that. And I'd go to the bar next door and have a drink. On shift. So I'd just go in and go, oh, yeah, would you mind if we get some ice? And say, while I'm here, can I just get, like, a Coke, something like that? He's like, oh, yeah, sure, because obviously you're wearing your uniform. So I'd just stand there, so I'll just give him, we're really rushed off. I say, yeah, I get it. And if anyone's like, before anyone says anything, I clean the fucking toilet, so I earn my money.
Yeah.
I earn that, and I knew that at the end of my shift, I'd have to clean all the bogs. So if you know what, fuck it. If I'm being on company time, I'm having a drink. I'm doing it. But I feel like that's a good way to, end the conversation for today.
Yeah.
Trying to keep these things streamlined, this episode 70 of the podcast. So folks in my chat and folks in Lucas's chat, if you'd like to ask some questions, now's the time.
Now is the time, yeah.
Now is the time, yes. And for people in my chat, you can use !Lucas to find Lucas's stream. And so we go back and forth, don't we? One from mine, one from yours.
Yep.
We do that. But while all that, while the questions are filtering in, all that malarkey, Lucas, anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just plug what I plugged at the start of this podcast again, of like, go check out my new YouTube video. It's a bit of a passion project of mine. It's just a series that I would like to get kicked off the ground, but they take quite a lot of time and they don't get too many views. So it's It'd be nice to get a bit of a boost.
Yeah, so how's that been going, like, in regards to like time-wise? Because this is the first video you've done that's not like a playthrough of sorts. I know you've done a couple of like smaller things, but with, like you said, this is a passion project. I know you've been doing it for a while. Like, how long would you say on average it's taken to make?
Well, the first
like
one
to give people an idea at home.
Yeah, the first one I did was like just kind of to kind of gauge interest for that kind of series and that kind of video, and it was just me talking to camera, and the research and writing maybe took like half a day to a day, so it wasn't too bad, and like putting it all together maybe like a full day's work. But then yeah, I think for the Golbat video I had to again research and write this entire thing, and like triple checking my facts because I don't know anything about like the science of how much blood can be lost from a body and shit like this. But then yeah, going and probably spent another 4 hours capturing footage specifically for Golbat things and trying to find points in the script that I'd already written of like, oh well, I mentioned here like Golbat biting things. Let's get a bit of footage of Golbat biting something, and that's like 10 seconds worth of video, but it's something that took like 5 minutes worth of setup.
And then you got to get set up for it. You have to do the label all your footage, so put it all in order. Then you got to edit it all into like cohesive narrative. So what, 7-minute video?
So yeah, it's like 7.5-minute video that probably took me maybe like 3 days worth of work putting it all together. Because it was just like, oh, I've got a couple of hours free here to do some work. Couple of hours here and there. So yeah, for like 7 minutes, it took me multiple days, and I'm gonna not earn any money off it. So it's like one of those of it's just something I want to do in my spare time, but trying to explain to people how much time goes into 7 minutes of a video is kind of rough.
Yeah, and I thought I'd just mention that because it's something we deal with quite often. People just not realizing how much time goes into making content, even content that looks as simple or as easy to make as like just like people might think, oh, surely all you got to do is get some footage of Golbat and then like read over the top.
Yeah,
it's like nah, you've got to, like, as you said, you've got 3 days of work on and off, plus like all the time you've had to spend like building your channel in the first place. You've got a place to put it, like all the other stuff that doesn't really get noticed or appreciated. Just things like building a logo, a cohesive theme, like a tone for your channel, like finding equipment, getting a space to film, all that stuff. It all goes in, and it all takes time, and that time really fucking adds up after a while.
Yeah, and it's funny because like a lot of people might just see like, oh, you've got a YouTube channel, that's what you put your time and effort into, but it's like that doesn't pay the bills. Like I get, I might get $50 a month from my YouTube channel that has a couple of hundred videos on it, but at the end of the day, that does not pay any bills. Like Karl, the work that I do for Karl, podcasting here and doing my editing for Fat Fiend, that's what ends up paying my bills, and all of my streaming and making my own content is just supplementary stuff that at the moment doesn't really earn me too much, but I really enjoy doing it.
Yeah, but that's the hustle you got to do, isn't it? And it's the idea is the time you put in now will hopefully in the near future like pay off. Like, what is it? Like, you reap what you sow.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's all too many times we've experienced and dealt with separately and as a group, people trying to just coast off of the success of others. Like recently, just the thing I got of a guy was like, hey, I want to start my own YouTube channel. Do you mind if I just read out your articles when I do it?
Yeah. Karl, you'll get exposure though.
Yeah.
Like, really? Like, I appreciate that they try to reword the base concept of we will pay you an exposure, but
it's like, no, you let me steal your ideas.
But Karl, I'm just like educating people about your articles.
Don't worry. Like, my favorite thing is I'll link to your articles in the bottom. It's like, I fucking better well hope you won't do that. But like, that's the thing, and people like that, they're not going to succeed because they don't have it in them to put the work in that is necessary.
Yeah.
One, to achieve success, and two, to maintain it.
And as well, like, it's just having like an idea for yourself as well, really, isn't it? And that's the thing is this series and a couple of other things that like I had on the mind when I was creating my own YouTube channel. Ironically, is the reason I made it in the first place, and the gaming stuff was meant to just be like extra stuff to put out because yeah, like you've got to keep content on the channel, but obviously I've just been so busy that I haven't been able to put all of that free time into all of these videos. But I realized that just having gameplay content is not unique to my channel, so I need something else. So you need the unique selling point.
You do, yes. And no one's really asking questions in my chat, so this might be a super short podcast by our usual standards. So you got any questions in yours? Because no one's asking me anything. It's great.
Yeah, so
I love this.
Someone in my chat says,
oh, okay.
Where do you draw the line with referencing something and just plagiarizing it? Particularly with movies and other shows to other movies and shows, like with Hot Fuzz.
It's easy. If it's done with love and consideration and just maybe not reverence, but just appreciation for the thing that's been referenced.
Mm-hmm.
So, like with Hot Fuzz, those references, they're very clearly homages done out of love, respect, and care for the things that inspired what's happening in that film.
Yeah,
they're not ripping it off,
and they're not ripping it off wholesale either.
No,
it's just taking little unique lines here and there to pop into what they know are going to be cool parts for the film.
It's also as well they're not with that. If usually a good way to look at it is if you took out the references, would the scene still make sense? And the answer is with something like Hot Fuzz, yes. Whereas stuff that's directly ripping other things off, if you took away the reference that they're making, they don't have a scene because that's all it is.
Yeah,
like Ready Player One, for example. If you take out all the references and stuff in Ready Player One, what do you have? You've got fucking nothing. You don't have a product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good way to think of it. I've not thought of it before that way. I appreciate it.
But yeah, in regards to stuff like that, it's just the line is drawn at: does the person have respect for the thing that they're referencing?
Yeah.
Like, is there due consideration, time, and care taken?
For sure.
And there is with something like Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead. Like some of the references in Shaun of the Dead as well actually flew over the head of the original thing they were referencing. Because the line in Shaun of the Dead where it's like, "We're coming to get you, Barbara."
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's a reference to, I believe, Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead, the original one.
Mm-hmm.
The story goes that Edgar Wright apologized to, oh God, what's the guy now?
George A. Romero?
George A. Romero, yeah. He was meeting him. He saw it and he was asking, I hope you don't mind that we stole your line. I was like, what line? We're coming to get you, Barbara. Went, that was a reference to one of my films. It was a reference so inside, even the guy who they're referencing didn't get it.
And apparently the mum was named Barbara just for that one line.
Yeah, so they could put that line in. And that's one of the things of and you can tell when stuff like that happens that Edgar Wright fucking loves film, and he loves the films that he was homaging and referencing.
Yeah, he clearly does, and he does it well. And it's one of those things of those movies feel crammed with cool references like that, but they're not actually crammed with it. They just stand out as cool little moments.
And they're just done so well. And they're not the ones, I call them the Star Wars moments. I think it's Red Letter Media who point out, Joe, they are discussing a Star Wars film. I think it was Force Awakens or something like that, of what they thought might happen. So, oh no, it was Solo. And they said, at one point in the film, they were theorizing, I bet we have a moment of a kid walking past. You go, oh, come on, Luke. Well, it shows it didn't happen, but they theorize it and they say. And that moments like that exist for people in the audience to go, that's Skywalker. It's we fucking know. Yeah. It's not a reference. It's we know.
Yeah.
You're that thing.
Oh, God. I never even watched Solo, so I don't know specifically with that, but yeah.
They don't have that moment in there, but they do have the guy who comes in and he doesn't like you. The guy from the bar.
Oh, God, yeah.
And it's one of those things that you see on YouTube of references you may have. It's how do I miss it? It's fucking on screen from moment one.
They've just slapped me in the face with it.
It's the only thing in frame as it happens. It's not a subtle reference where you got said Shaun of the Dead had references in it that the original creator did not catch. That's a fucking good one.
That is, yeah.
Let's have a look. So we've got some more questions now. I get that you like TV shows. I love that. I get that you like TV shows. Can you imagine how fucking sad someone would be to just like not enjoy TV? What do they do with their time?
I don't know.
But do you like anime?
So no then.
No.
Karl just showed off his Sailor Moon t-shirt for audio listeners.
Yeah. I don't get why do people hold anime as like it's a genre in of itself.
I mean, I guess it is, but it's not some weird holy grail of thing. It's just I enjoy watching stuff.
I consider it part of the spectrum of entertainment. I don't like consider it to be its own thing. Other people would, and those people are boring because they make their entire life about watching anime.
Yeah. It's like just don't attach your personality to anything media related, really. Like you can enjoy something, but don't make it your entire life.
Well, think about just go back to what we talked about references. Yeah, if you like a show, get something like maybe put it on a shirt or something like that. Don't wear the shirt and then a jacket with it on, and then a hat with it on, and then and then make your entire bedroom 50 fucking posters of this one thing.
Although I will say that I kind of did that by accident. I've got a Gwen Stacy Spider Girl hoodie.
You got the hoodie, yeah.
I've got Miles Morales snapback cap, and I've got an Endgame Spider-Man backpack, whereas the Iron Spider.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, I'm wearing Spider-Man hat, Spider-Man jacket, and Spider-Man backpack, but they're all different Spider-Men, so it's okay. I can get away with this.
It's technically not the same Spider-Man.
I was just like, oops, I shouldn't have put this all on.
It's fine. Well, any questions in your chat, one for her?
Just a quick little one. Someone's just question regarding my beard. Do I use any beard oil, balm, wax? Just out of curiosity. I just use a bit of beard oil and would recommend it to anyone growing a beard because otherwise they start to get a bit straggly and a bit homeless man looking.
Yeah, and I also use beard oil on this fucking just mountainous man beard that I have. I don't.
But it's just our advice in general, isn't it? Of men, please don't be scared to use beauty products and whatnot. Just look after yourself, moisturize. Use beard oil, blah blah blah. Just there's nothing wrong with trying to look after yourself.
Every day I have a morning routine. I wake up. I got all my skincare. So I think it's you cleanse, exfoliate, tone, then moisturize. I think is the order. So I have 4 different skin washes that I use every morning. I've got stuff for my hair. I buy that Aussie stuff. The best fucking shampoo. It smells fucking awesome.
You know what? I use Aussie stuff as well, Karl.
It smells so good, doesn't it? Every time I wash my hair.
I remember when I was younger and I was like, oh, but that stuff got recommended to me, by the way, and I was like, oh, but it's so much more expensive than the other ones that I use. But
£7 a bottle.
That extra few quid per bottle is worth it to just look after yourself a bit, pamper yourself.
Yeah, always look after yourself. Drink plenty of water, all that stuff.
I mean, I'll drink plenty of water. This is bigger than my fucking head. My bottle of water right now. There's a bit of cordial in it, but Yeah,
and if you drink cordial, make sure you get sugar-free cordial or put lemon juice or something in there. But just look after yourself. And if you have a beard, trim it, maintain it, and use beard oil.
Yep, I would struggle to think of anything that's more of a put-off than somebody being unhygienic. Unattractive.
I can't think of a more... from a superficial standpoint, there's really not many traits a person can have that are more unattractive than that.
Mm-hmm.
Just someone having a slovenly appearance and just not. It speaks to a person's just wider personality. If they don't even care to look after themselves,
do
you think they're going to be that good in a relationship?
Yeah, are they going to look after you? If they can't look after themselves, are they going to look after you?
Is that when you see something like dirty nails or something like that, and you look at it and go, well, ugh.
Well, it's I get it if that's part of your job.
Yeah, let's say if you want.
If you work in a job where your hands are going to get filthy, but then there's nothing wrong with after your shift going home and making sure your hands are clean.
Mm-hmm.
It's there are people that I've met where it's well, my job means that my hands get dirty. It's but living at home, your hands don't need to be dirty. Why are your hands dirty while you're at home?
You can get a shower.
Yeah.
But it's all good. So So, well, any more questions in my chat? That's just a really boring one, so no, thank you. Subs or dubs? I couldn't give less of a fuck.
Whatever you prefer.
Yeah, and the thing is, the people who do care, they're so boring.
Mm-hmm.
I've never encountered a more boring person than people who legit give a huge shit about subs or dubs.
Yeah.
Like, I've had people get annoyed at me, like when I'm playing Dragon Ball Fighters, for using the wrong voice. It's like, I don't care. Why do you care that somebody else is playing a game with the wrong voices?
Like, so I get it because there's times when I've watched somebody play fighters or like a combo video or whatnot, and I get thrown off a bit when they're using Japanese voices because I've always, specifically with Dragon Ball, because I grew up watching it on English TV, I've always watched it with dub rather than sub. But yeah, it can throw you off hearing the other version because that's not the character that you're used to. But who fucking cares? Like, enjoy it how you want to enjoy it.
Yeah, and you wouldn't give someone shit for it.
Mm.
And the only time it's ever made sense to me is with my girlfriend who is Japanese and speaks Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
So when she watches them, she says like there's a lot of subtleties that are often lost in the translation.
Mm.
So unless the translation is especially good, I prefer to watch it in the original language. Plus, it helps me with my Japanese. It's like that's probably one of the few times I've heard someone give me a legit explanation for why I should give a shit either way.
Yeah, and that's totally true. And it's a bit of a shame because I know there's a lot lost in translation, but there's also a lot lost translation. Like, there's like a tier of like, actually understanding the Japanese voices. Then the subtitles, which will lose a bit of nuance, and then the dubs, which sometimes just completely change the context of a line.
Yeah, like the good example of that is the Batman anime that came out where the story is completely different in Japanese.
Oh wow.
Like they just cut the story differently, and it can happen. It happens a lot with Gretzko. There's a lot of like subtle translations that are because these subs are really, really true to what's being said, and some of the actual meaning and implications of a lot of things being said are lost. But like it's translating stuff's not perfect.
Translating stuff is very difficult, especially from like languages that work differently, like Japanese to English and vice versa. It's like a lot of European languages all work off a similar base, so translating isn't that hard.
Yeah, they all share a similar root language, whereas Japanese is not. But yeah, that's the only time I've ever heard someone explain it in a way where I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see why you yourself would be annoyed. It's like your culture that is sometimes being misunderstood or misrepresented by bad translations.
But even then, would they get mad at somebody else watching it in the way they wanted?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
They only prefer to do that themselves. Like we were watching a show at the same time. It's like I don't mind reading the subtitles. I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like if you watch when you watch Dragon Ball, I don't care if you watch it either or. It's fucking Dragon Ball. Who cares? We were watching like it was Your Name, which I think is like really big over there. So you kind of need to watch it with subtitles because there's a lot of nuance that will be lost in the direct translation.
Yeah,
which is fair enough.
That is fair enough. Yeah.
Any questions in your chat?
There's someone here.
Yeah.
Asking advice for someone learning to edit for their own channel, and honestly, like the way I learned the basic stuff was either like just some simple YouTube tutorials, or when I managed to have a bit of money to buy Adobe, the tutorials there are actually really good, and they'll show you like how to do something, and then they'll put you in like a demo environment with demo clips and stuff and go, okay, now you do it yourself, and if you do it wrong, the tutorial won't actually let you progress. Like, it is literally a tutorial rather than just an explanation, which is really nice. But then I will also, if you know how to edit simply, say, there was like a video by Freddie Wong that I looked up of just how to make life as an editor a bit easier. And he basically went, oh, here is how I have my keyboard shortcuts all set out for Premiere Pro.
Okay.
And that means that I've got everything available on like my left hand. When I place it just here, I never have to move my hand. Like, everything is accessible from my fingertips rather than the way that the shortcuts are laid out, by default, you have to move yourself across the keyboard a lot, and it saved me a bunch of time watching like a 10-minute YouTube video by him and then lining up all my keyboard shortcuts to whatever the hell he had. It's just saved me probably hours worth of edits on some edits. Like, it just makes a lot of things simpler.
And I don't really have much advice beyond I learned mine in college, and the one good bit of advice I can give it is if you have a problem, if you just literally just type in exactly what your problem is, visually what you see on your screen, chances are somebody somewhere on a forum has asked about this problem. Because like one I had, because I use Vegas, not Adobe, because that's just what I learned on in college. I accidentally clicked the edge of like a clip, and it brought up like everything got surrounded by these bright blue lines, and I like, oh god, what have I done? I don't know how to remove this. I just typed in blue lines on Vegas version, and someone was like, oh yeah, it was a guy in a forum asking the same question. Oh, you accidentally clicked this. Double click this, and it'll be solved. Oh, thanks, cheers, done. So I kind of learned via just trial and error, because the editing that I do is very simple. It's just drag and drop into a video, maybe some like a little bit of fine tuning, maybe like some overlays or sliding clips into one another. But a lot of that just came from just, again, I just go, okay, I want to fade this clip into this one. Type in fade clip into other clip, Vegas version. This person is a perfect explanation on a forum.
Yeah.
Maybe I should probably one day sit down and take a full tutorial, but I just learned little bit by little bit by little bit, and I've just like, cobbled together all that into a cohesive skill set that works for me now.
Yeah, that's the same with me. I got a basic rundown from Nisha when I started working on Fact Fiend of like how she specifically edits Fact Fiend videos. But other than that, it's just been a slow process of, well, I've got the basics down, but every time a new problem comes up or I want to add a new edit or whatever, I'll give it a Google. Like, the answer is almost always there, just like after a quick Google search, and you just learn like one new thing every now and then. And it came up recently when I was talking about the new office setup. You're a lot closer to the green screen, so that means the green screen like shines back on you a bit more. And I learned about like spill suppression, and I never had to know what that was when we're in the office, but it was just a simple drag and drop that solved my problem that I had no idea existed.
And that's not something I'd have to deal with because I don't edit Fact Fiend videos. The stuff I edit is a lot simpler, and that's one of the reasons I have you guys. 'Cause I could learn how to do it, but I'm not. I've got other shit to do. I've got to write the articles as well. So it's on there. It's I know it's not a skill set that I have.
Yeah.
And I'm like, big enough to admit, this is not a skill set that I have, or it's not an area I'm interested in overly. I'm happy that I can get by with what I have.
I mean, hey ho, like the goal is to, like, for pretty much any creator, is to be in this situation where you are, where it's like, oh yeah, I get to like make what I want to make, and then I'll just give it over to an editor and they can edit.
I'm living like the creator dream, which is I get to do the fun stuff, which is making the content, and then someone else does all the legwork.
And yeah, I think that probably sums up that one, I think.
Is this a podcast? Yeah, that's why it says it's a podcast, and the tagline is podcast. This happens so much.
Yeah.
If someone comes into chat and they have the most amount of information to answer the question they're about to ask, and then they still ask it.
Yeah, and we like stream a lot of gaming stuff on Twitch. It's like we'll play Super Smash Bros. And it's like, like LegendOfKanto is live playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And I come in like, oh yeah, like the tagline's like smashing with friends, and it's like, oh, what's happening? Well, we're playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate with friends, because that's what the title says, and that's what the Twitch page is telling you is going on.
And it's what the little thing that says, oh, what's this stream? What are you streaming?
Yeah,
a podcast, and it says podcast on the title. But yes, it is. And you know what? That's the last question I'm going to answer, because there's people bitching about subs and dubs, despite the fact we talked about them being the most insufferable people imaginable. I don't get it. Oh, people who do that are really insufferable. Yeah, anyway, I heard that, but here's why subs are better. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
god damn it.